very much. Thank you, Richard, for your introduction. So, guys, everybody here is tech crazy. You have a great idea. You get that idea off the ground, and you're like, phew. But then you think, oh, was that the easy bit? So, James Khan, who is next to me, is going to be helping us delve into all of this. Now, let me tell you a little bit about James Khan. We heard Richard just give us a bit of an introduction. But James is a serial entrepreneur. He is a philanthropist. He's also a TV star and so much more. His insight is gold. He has decades of experience in helping entrepreneurs reach success and thrive in the long term. So we're going to be looking at, in our conversation, about how to reach that success and then keep it going. And that is important.
Absolutely.
So being an entrepreneur today, James, is exciting. It's also very unsettling. These are very disruptive times. How do you see 2023 for these cohorts going ahead?
I think before I answer that question, Isabel, I think I'd like to congratulate Saudi Arabia for putting on yet another blockbuster conference. I arrived in Leap today, thousands of people here, some of the most extraordinary speakers I've come across. I think for this region, this is a true testament of what could be achieved. So I think before anything, let me just congratulate you, Leap, for yet another outstanding conference. Honestly, blockbuster, well done.
Yeah, it deserves a round of applause.
Really, really good. Delighted to be here. Sorry, your question. On to the more serious stuff.
So, because James does a lot of TV, so he's going to take over. I think this is what's going to happen. So I was just talking about this year, 2023. It's February. What do you see going ahead? How do you see this new world, in some respects, for entrepreneurs?
I mean, for me, I think 2023 is going to be an incredible and exciting year. If you just look at some of the stands here today, look at some of the new technology that's coming out, look at the way that businesses are being transformed, I think for entrepreneurs, there could be no better time. The genie is out of the bottle, artificial intelligence is here, technology is transforming the way we do business. There is more money being raised to back entrepreneurs than ever before. What else could you want for?
You, possibly, in terms...
I'm here.
Okay, so let's make the most of you, because I don't know if you know, and I was quite blown away by this, but James has given practical experience to 50,000 startups when he was leading Startups UK. And that gets a lot of information to process it and understand, and then come out with some really important knowledge. And I want to tap into that knowledge because I want to know how that experience has shaped, that experience you gave, has shaped those startups, and what are they doing today?
I mean, I think when you look at an entrepreneur, we start off with an idea, we raise some money, we have passion, we have excitement. The thing that we lack is experience. By definition, we're a startup. So one of the things that I spent a lot of time with the 50,000 businesses that I backed and started in the UK was identifying mentors for these businesses. I believe one of the biggest things that we lack when we start a business is the experience of execution. And therefore, the concept of mentorship for me was imperative. The thing that I advised and helped the entrepreneurs with was when you're looking for a mentor does not have to be the good and the great. It can be somebody who is relevant and relative to your business, to your sector, and where you are in that entrepreneurial cycle. Find somebody who can experience what you're experiencing, that can share their insights with you. We had an entire team of mentors around the UK working with startups, and I truly believe they were able to transform how those businesses develop because their insights, their experience was invaluable. I think entrepreneurs sometimes believe it's money that makes the difference. Money is just one ingredient. The experience factor, to me, is just as important as the capital you need to start a business.
Okay, so mentors are important, and I always think it's very nice to have examples. So can you give me a good example of a mentor you found to help start up a business? You know,
Okay.
What are you looking for?
Okay, so great example. We had an entrepreneur in the UK, a lady called Samantha, who created a food product that she wanted to bring to market. And I approached one of the buyers at Sainsbury's and said, you know, I've got somebody who has an idea as a food product, but you as the buyer at Sainsbury's see these things every day of your life. You know what sells, how much it should sell for, where it should be sold to. And I got that buyer to do 1 day a month with my entrepreneur. And as a result of the mentor, she changed her product and realized that although what she had was a great product, but she couldn't produce it at a price that a supermarket would buy it for. And that piece of advice was game-changing. She could have spent 3 years, you know, peddling the streets, trying to sell this and get nowhere. By changing the product and producing it at a price that could be sold, transform what she was doing.
So mentorship is important, but when you are building your business, so is talent. So let's talk about talent for a little bit, because how much value do you place on getting the right talent in a new fledgling startup?
I was a startup once myself. We all start somewhere. I feel the role of an entrepreneur when you start a business, we are the orchestrator. Being the entrepreneur does not mean we are the best salespeople, the best finance people, the best HR people. Our job, in my opinion, is to find the talent to grow the business. To me, the talent is the fuel in any business. So many entrepreneurs, when they come to me for advice, constantly say to me, James, I'm really struggling to find the right people for my business. The first question I ask them is, how much time do you actually spend looking for people? The average response I get is 10% of their time. So my question is, if something that is so important in your business, the success of your business, why does it only justify 10% of my time? To put it into context, I spend 60% of my time in my business looking for talent. Why? Because without people, I have no business. If I have the right people executing my strategy, I have a chance of building and scaling my business. My job is to accumulate those people, to attract the talent, to manage the talent. I don't think the role of an entrepreneur necessarily is to be the best salesman or to be the best numbers guy or to be the best finance person. Our job is to find those people who are better than us at those functions.
And would you place them equally when it comes to skills, to qualifications? You know, what are you looking for when you're searching out for that talent? When you're spending that 60% of your time, which I don't know whether to you guys, but to me that struck me as quite huge.
So when I'm looking for people, it's a combination. I'm not just looking for academia. I want that practical experience. I want people who are team players, people who are decisive. Above all, I need work ethic. When you're in a startup, you need people to be multi-talented and multitask, because when you're small, you have to do lots of different things. But a lot of people say to me, Isabel, that it's okay for you, you can go out and find talent because you can afford it. But when I started, like everybody else, I didn't have the kind of money that could buy that sort of talent. So you have to be more creative, think outside the box. So, you know, in the beginning, I used stock options, I used equity, I bought them in as non-execs, you know, so different types of positions, different packages, different formulas, different remuneration. You know, if I couldn't afford him full time, should I bring him in 2 days a week, 1 day a week? So I think there's lots of different ways of doing it, but getting those people to make the contribution that you need is imperative.
And what about AI? Because I can only assume that AI in recruiting should save a lot of time. But do you have any misgivings about that if recruitment is the name of the game for you?
I mean, the only example I can give you is when LinkedIn was first launched. In the recruitment business, I thought the recruitment business was over because LinkedIn was going to dominate the world. It's going to literally have the world's talent on one platform. And I thought, why on earth would anybody need a recruitment agency if you can just go onto LinkedIn and find the person you're looking for? But in reality, what did that technology do? It transformed recruitment businesses because it gave us access to talent that we could never have. Before LinkedIn, I was spending millions of pounds a year on advertising, but as a result of LinkedIn, I spent nothing. So actually, it made us more efficient, it cost us less, we were able to access candidates that we could otherwise never access. So I think technology didn't destroy it, it enhanced it. I think AI will do the same. It will make us more efficient, it will give us access to information we've never had before, and it will improve the speed and efficiency of what we do.
Are there only positives though? Are there any things that concern you? Well, we worry about loss of jobs, but also bias in AI. And I can only assume in recruitment that might be of concern.
I mean, I think the concept of lack of jobs, all I can say is if you look at technology over the last 30 years, how many jobs really have we lost? For every job in the conventional sector we've lost, we've created another one in technology. So I think technology does replace the more menial jobs, but then it creates, data scientists, engineers, software engineers. So I think AI will replace certain jobs, I accept that, but at the same time it will create new jobs, jobs of the future, jobs of the young generation as they're coming through, but also those jobs will be higher paid, because they'll be knowledge workers. So I'm not really worried about the impact. What I am slightly concerned about is when you have new technology that you don't understand, you have to find ways of regulating it and the governance that you apply. So if you look at ChatGPT, I could be a student and virtually take my exam on ChatGPT and it will literally do the exam for me. That probably needs to be regulated. The challenge is governments, organizations around the world today, they just don't understand it well enough to be able to regulate because it's too new.
So can they regulate it then if they don't understand it?
I think they will regulate it, but give them a chance, Isabel. It's been out 10 minutes, so I think as soon as we get to grips with it, there will be, just like you'll see regulations everywhere, but there's always that initial period, a bit like crypto. Before we really knew what crypto was, it was a bit unregulated. It was a bit of a free-for-all. But as governments are starting to understand and organizations, it's starting to be regulated. So I think whilst you don't understand it, be slightly more conscious about it. Don't embrace it until you know its impact or consequences.
I now want to dive into something maybe a little bit more practical. Now, I don't know about you in the room, but I've really enjoyed hybrid working. It's given me more of a chance to be with my family, have balanced kind of work and life. But how do people who head businesses, how do you personally view how this revolution, I guess, that's taken place in the workplace that is enabling employees to work from home and also work in the office? How do you think is the best way to balance that?
So I think the first thing is the genie is out of the bottle and it's not going back. I don't think we're ever going to see a period of time where 100% of our workforce are going to be based in the office anymore, because as businesses, as owners and entrepreneurs and governments around the world have recognized that you can work from home and still be as efficient as you were in the office. So I think that first myth has gone. Pre the pandemic, if one of my employees said to me, James, can I work from home? The immediate response I would have is he just wants to faff from home. He doesn't really want to do his work. Actually, I don't think that anymore because I've seen the evidence that people working from home can be efficient. That doesn't mean that everybody should now work from home. I think we need to find the balance. There are certain functions and certain jobs where I think you have to be in the office. I also believe young people between the age of 21 and 30, when they're learning their trade, they're learning their profession, or a business that's starting out, I don't believe a startup should work from home. That's about learning the business, building an environment, building a culture. If you have an organization where everybody works from home, what is the culture that you're creating? What is the glue that keeps those people together? So I don't think that works. So to me, the answer is you need the balance. I think young people between the age of 20 and 30 should work from home. I think people from 30 to 40 probably can do 2 days from home, 3 days in the office. People from 40 to 50 can do it the other way round. They can work from home for 3 days a week and 2 days in the office. So I think the answer is depending on function, it depends on experience, and it depends on the people you're dealing with. the ideal organization needs a balance.
Yeah, so 20 to 30s in the office, and it's important because you need to socialize at that age as well and get out of the house. You don't have the same imperatives
Well,
as
you're
you do as
seeing
you get
all this
older.
stuff on mental health.
Yeah.
You know, there are consequences that if you're just at home, you don't interact, you don't meet people, etc. It has its downsides, which is why I'm saying we need the balance.
Now, so we've talked about, the ability of new technologies that's allowing to work from home. We've talked about ChatGPT. There is a whole technological revolution that's taking place with AI that we just discussed. Do you think that we're on the brink now of something much bigger than was the internet, how the internet has changed our lives in the workplace, how the internet is changing entrepreneurs' lives, and how can they get ready for this revolution?
I mean, if you go back 20 years and you said to somebody 20 years ago that we could literally run a global organization on the back of a smartphone, how many entrepreneurs and CEOs do you see literally today running their entire businesses on the back of a mobile phone? The things we do with this phone today, nobody could ever have imagined. That's been an incredible revolution in the last 20 years. I think where we are today, we're going to see the same pace of change in the next 20 years with artificial intelligence, with technology, with remote working. You know, when you think about remote working, the other thing remote working has done is it's broken barriers and borders. I have people today that I can employ anywhere in the world, they can still work for me. Whereas before, as an employer, one of the questions I would ask you is, what is your commute, Isabel? How long will it take you to get to the office? Today, you can live in a different country and it still works. What is the impact of that on the global workforce? So I think the rate of change does make it more exciting, it makes it more interesting, and it gives entrepreneurs a greater opportunity of building businesses that we probably couldn't have built before. So I think the period ahead, we should embrace change, we should take it on, just like we've embraced this. But you know, it took some people years to switch to smartphones, and now with a younger workforce, especially in this region in the Middle East, we have a very young workforce here. I think the Middle East will embrace this change probably faster than Western economies. You know, even when I walk around here today, or Dubai, or you know, in Singapore, I think people have embraced technology in a much greater fashion than in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it here. But you know, practically speaking, let's just get down to the nuts and bolts. Practically speaking, what would be your advice to entrepreneurs to make sure that they are future ready?
I think attending conferences like this, knowing what is coming, knowing what's available, knowing what is happening in your market, in your industry, in your sector. You know, don't be overly global, be very specific in what's relevant to your particular business. I think being aware and understanding, networking, going out to conferences, seeing what's available, look at what your competition's doing, understand what can I do that embraces my business to make it more effective, more efficient, and more profitable.
Why is entrepreneurship important, James?
Because I think entrepreneurs empowers you to be in control of your own destiny. But one of the things that I find quite incredible is being entrepreneurs, we're also job creators. For every business we start, we create a job. Every job that we create and every business we create, we foster communities. You know, when I founded Startup Loans, one of the key drivers of setting up businesses was about job creation. We created, with Startup Loans, 170,000 jobs in the businesses that we founded. That can transform economies. When I look at entrepreneurship in the Middle East, you know, right now, the Middle East is becoming almost the Silicon Valley of the East. The number of businesses that are being formed, but also remember, this region does have quite high unemployment. And I think entrepreneurship literally could eradicate unemployment due to the jobs that we will create.
Yeah, because it's a massive knock-on effect. Now, when I introduced James, I said that he was a TV star. Richard, who introduced us, also mentioned Dragon's Den. I don't know if you guys know Dragon's Den. It is addictive TV, so I don't know if you should watch it because you just loop episodes one after the other. But I went back to an episode that James right at the beginning of you presenting. It was back in 2008. And James,
I was a much younger James than I think, yeah.
but as handsome. And you were talking about your golden rules. And I've written them down here, and I'm going to go back to these golden rules. And they were, not follow the crowd. Presentation is all important. Learning from your mistakes, and something you've touched upon extensively, people. 2008, 2023, it's very different worlds. Are those golden rules the same, or is there anything you would add?
I think the only one I'd add to that is hard work. All of those are clearly very important, but without hard work, none of them work. I think the life of an entrepreneur is 24/7. It is not 9 to 5. You know, I've never met an entrepreneur today who's what I call half pregnant. You're either 100% in or you're not in. So I think just add that element of hard work, dedication, and passion about what you believe in. I've never met an entrepreneur who's been successful who is not absolutely passionate about his idea, about his belief. I think the final thing I would say is when you are looking at business, it's not about you, it's about we. Businesses are not built by one individual, they're built by teams of individuals, which is why I'm so passionate about people and recognizing that we are only as good as the people we attract. Spend your time and dedicate your time to ensure that if you are building a business, most entrepreneurs are obsessive about their product or their technology and they're consumed by that. I tend to spend a lot more time thinking about how do I scale this business? How do I build this business? You can't scale it on your own. You can only do it by having the right team around you. And I think if you can balance your time between the passion of your business and the passion for your people, you have every opportunity to be successful.
Wonderful words to conclude with. Thank you so much, James, for opening up your heart to us, giving us all a bit of mentorship, really, in some respects. Please give James Khan a big round of applause.
Thank you.